2025. The 2020 programme for government also promised to, quote, take actions to drive energy efficiency upgrades in rented properties. Unfortunately, the government seems to be reneging on those commitments, just like it's doing on other important climate commitments, like the ban on importing fracked gas. 10% of our carbon emissions come from residential buildings, so retrofitting is vital to achieving our climate targets. Unfortunately, the new Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Lowry programme for government, a government of landlords, by landlords, for landlords, is silent on BER standards and silent on energy efficiency upgrades for private rented accommodation. All it says vaguely is that it will, quote, ramp up our targets to deliver more B2 equivalent home retrofits each year from 2026 to 2030, with a focus on lower income households. But because it has deliberately taken out any mention of private rented accommodation, it seems that renters won't benefit, even though they have much higher poverty rates than homeowners. Last year, 1 in 8 renters were living in consistent poverty, compared to less than 1 in 50 homeowners. 2/3 of people living in deprivation are renters. So continuing to exclude hundreds of thousands of renting families from retrofitting is outrageous. According to the government's own roadmap for social inclusion to 2025, quote, improving a building energy rating of a home from E1 to B2 can generate annual savings to the household of €2,524 per year. That was written before the massive increases in energy costs in the last few years, so it's even more now. The energy companies are still hiking up the prices. The government has already said that there will be no energy credits, so 1 in 3 people are just being left to suffer in energy poverty. The Irish Green Building Council explains that, quote, the physical and mental health consequences of energy poverty can have long-lasting implications. Cold, damp, unventilated homes generate mould and dust mites which can negatively affect a person's respiratory system and exacerbate conditions such as asthma and allergies. Ireland has the highest rate of asthma in the EU. 1 in 10 children currently have asthma, and 1 in 5 will suffer from it at some point. We also have a high level of winter deaths, which are directly related to fuel poverty and social class. We need this legislation to force landlords to retrofit because they can't be bothered to do it themselves. They aren't the ones suffering in freezing, damp homes and watching their wages fly up the chimney in high heating costs. In technical terms, it's known as a split incentive. They have effectively no incentive to invest in retrofitting these properties. They are eligible for the same grants as other property owners. They could avail of those under, for example, the National Home Energy Upgrade Scheme, as well as low-interest home energy upgrade loans. On top of that, they're also entitled to deduct retrofitting expenses from their rental profits for taxation purposes. The example that Revenue gives on their website shows that between grants and tax breaks, landlords would only have to pay out around €3,000 of a €20,000 retrofit, but they still can't be bothered. They're happy to just sit back and watch record high rents pile up in their bank accounts. This bill recognises that fact and so introduces an obligation on landlords to retrofit. They haven't taken the many carrots that are on offer and so now need a stick. The second thing that the bill does is to prohibit landlords from using retrofitting as an excuse to evict tenants or increase rents. This is crucial to ensure that renters benefit from retrofits and are not penalised in any way. There must be no rent-evictions or rent increases. This bill ensures that retrofitting will be a win-win for renters who will have warmer, more comfortable homes, lower energy bills, and society as a whole will benefit from reduced carbon emissions.